Hey guys, today I'll be taking a look at the latest polls, latest numbers, the latest odds, and the latest news regarding the 2024 Republican Party primary, as that race is seriously starting to ramp up as many of the candidates are trying to, get key endorsements and key support from voters, especially Donald Trump. This whole race essentially right now surrounds Donald Trump. So taking a look at the latest polls, this is the latest poll this conducted from the 5th of March to the 8th of March, and this is from the state of Iowa. So, the Iowa caucus is the most important race in any presidential primary. It doesn't always decide it, but compared to every other state, Iowa is the most important, and really that there's really no reason. It's just really random, and winning Iowa really is really important. You saw in 2008, Barack Obama went from a long shot candidate. He won the Iowa primary, and he gained the support from candidates or from voters because voters before didn't think that he really had a chance of winning, but winning the caucus in Iowa really does show that your campaign can move forward, and those who are supporting candidates with a really low chance of winning will end up going to you. And one of the candidates that we saw that won a primary that did not win Iowa was Joe Biden. Joe Biden came in 4th in Iowa, so that was pretty surprising. He also came in 5th in New Hampshire, came in 2nd in Nevada, and then 1st in South Carolina. So there's really 4 primaries that are really important in presidential primaries. The first one, Iowa, that's the Iowa caucus. This is the first one, followed by New Hampshire primary. This is the first primary. And really, the only reason why New Hampshire is second is because they said they have to be the first primary in their constitution. So, New Hampshire, that is the second race, and this is typically pretty important as well. This is a race in which Bernie Sanders defeated Hillary Clinton in 2016, but he still ended up losing the primary in the end. Bernie also won the New Hampshire primary in 2020. He also won the Nevada primary, Bernie Sanders, by a landslide. And then the final primary that is important is the primary in South Carolina. And this was one that Joe Biden won by an even larger landslide, and it really was South Carolina. South Carolina was the state that gave Joe Biden the Democratic nomination. He ended up winning on Super Tuesday, winning many huge upsets because everybody dropped out and supported Joe Biden after he, of course, won that South Carolina primary. So these 4 races are the most important. After these 4 races, you, of course, have Super Tuesday, and after that, the primary starts to end as more candidates drop out. So taking a look at the first poll here released from Iowa, this shows Donald Trump plus 53 points. So he's at 61% of Republican voters in Iowa. This really is really strong. Mike Pence at 8%, Nikki Haley at 6%, and then Mitt Romney in 4th actually at 5%. Now remove Donald Trump from the equation, things get a little bit different. Ron DeSantis actually leads. So many of these pollsters, they always poll without Donald Trump for 2024 just because Donald Trump is just such a popular Republican among the party that he has a very high chance that he actually does not run in 2024. So that's why they also did the same exact poll except without Donald Trump. And you saw Ron DeSantis at 20%, Mike Pence at 19%, Cruz at 16%, and Mitt Romney, who is in 4th, is down last at 5%. So the problem with Mitt Romney is, he will always have around that 5-6% support from the GOP, but Romney, it's really unlikely that he gains much support because of how against Trump he has been. So with Donald Trump, he leads by 53. Without Donald Trump, the leaders are Ron DeSantis and Mike Pence. And Ron DeSantis, with Trump in this Iowa poll, he's at 4%. But without Trump, he's at 20%. So this shows that these Republicans, they need to gain the Trump vote. If Trump doesn't run, they need the Trump vote to win. If Trump does run, it'll be very difficult for anyone to defeat Donald Trump in the 2024 Republican Party primary. Now, taking a look at some of these other polls, you see the basic trend here is that if Donald Trump is not in the poll, Ron DeSantis leads. That's the trend that's been happening over the last couple of months here. Ron DeSantis leads by 1%. This is one of Trump's children. This is not actually Donald Trump there. So, if Trump is the poll, this one was actually a pretty weak one. Trump led by just 6 points in a poll conducted in late February. And then some other polls that have been released, this one again, Trump plus 42. You have many other polls all showing Trump leading. There is this Harris poll that shows Pence plus 23. This was conducted in late February as well, around CPAC time. And so this is without Donald Trump, and then with Trump, Trump leads by 24. So you see that Mike Pence and Ron DeSantis are really the ones that are leading without Donald Trump. So really, it's essentially Donald Trump, but without Trump, it's Pence or DeSantis that typically does the best. This is another poll without Trump. Ron DeSantis at 21%, and I believe Pence is not on this poll either. So, many of these pollsters, they do the polls really differently. You have this other one, DeSantis plus 52 if he's just against Rubio and Scott. This is in the Florida Republican primary. So, the Florida essentially is a pretty important state. The primary goes along with Michigan, I believe. So, the primaries in Florida, they are pretty important, but definitely not as important as those first four states that I mentioned earlier. But Ron DeSantis leads by 52% over Marco Rubio and Rick Scott. So Marco Rubio and Rick Scott are the two senators from Florida, and Ron DeSantis is the governor. So out of the three major officials from Florida, Ron DeSantis is clearly the most popular. Marco Rubio, of course, came in third in the 2016 Republican primary, and he is a pretty known figure, and he's one that I think will have a pretty high chance at running in 2024, going for another run for the primary. And then again, another poll, Morning Consult, Trump plus 41. Now, these are really interesting polls that I want to take a look at. All these polls released on Inauguration Day. So as you can see here, before this was, of course, Trump versus Weld. So this was the 2020 primary. But this is the ones that have started after the 2020 presidential election. So these are for 2024. And this poll conducted on November 2nd to the 3rd of November. This was before Donald Trump lost the 2020 presidential election. Mike Pence actually led here by 10% over Donald Trump. Mike Pence at 30%. His chances really have decreased by a lot over the last couple of months. These other polls released around a week after Trump lost the election. They all showed Pence leading in a lot of them without Donald Trump on them. But even right after Donald Trump lost, he was still the favorite. This poll right here with 24, 24 people, 324 people being polled, Trump still led at 45%, Mike Pence at 22%, and so Donald Trump still, even after he lost the election, he still was able to lead in these polls. You saw more of them. Trump at 76% in North Carolina. This is a North Carolina poll. Trump at 76%. New Hampshire, this is, of course, the second primary, or the second race in the first primary. So New Hampshire is really, really very, very important. With Donald Trump on it, he's at 57%. Mitt Romney is in second place, but you take Trump out, and you have Mike Pence at 25%. So this was before Ron DeSantis became that large of a figure for the primary. Looking at Georgia, this was right before the Georgia Senate special elections, the runoffs in Georgia. So Mike Pence again led without Donald Trump, but with Trump still plus 68 in Georgia, right before those runoff races in Georgia where the Republicans lost the Senate. So Donald Trump still definitely the favorite in the polling, but without Donald Trump, it's either Mike Pence or Ron DeSantis. However, Mike Pence really doesn't have, I don't think, the charisma to be able to run a successful campaign. I think he's just a really bland person. And I think that what happened with him and Trump, I think Trump voters would be more inclined to support someone else that has been more loyal to Donald Trump than Mike Pence, who, of course, he has been very loyal to Donald Trump, but he was not when it really mattered to him, and that was when he agreed to certify the electoral votes for the election of Joe Biden. So taking a look at the betting odds for the 2024 GOP nomination, right now, as you can see, Ron DeSantis is the favorite for the GOP nomination. The governor of Florida has topped Donald Trump, who leads over Nikki Haley, Kristi Noem, and Mike Pence in 5th place. Ted Cruz is at 6th and 7th place, and then you have Mike Pompeo, Tom Cotton, Marco Rubio, and you see Mitt Romney down here as well with just a 2% share. So this is definitely not the best for Donald Trump, but it does show. I mean, these Trump candidates are on top. Ron DeSantis, Donald Trump, Kristi Noem, Mike Pence, Ted Cruz. I mean, all of these candidates are Trump candidates. The only two that I can find that are not Trump Republicans, or three really, are Larry Hogan, who is the Republican governor of Maryland, so he is a liberal Republican. You also have Nikki Haley, who is really the main one. She was essentially the 2024 front runner for a very long time, but she is no longer that because Donald Trump lost the election. And then you have finally the second one, the third Republican here that is really not a Trump Republican, and that is, of course, Mitt Romney. So everyone else on here, they are all really staunch Trump supporters. And taking a look at the trends here, Donald Trump's numbers have not been the best lately. He started off at around 20%. He went all the way up to 34 at one point, but it has dipped down. Ron DeSantis' numbers have really been skyrocketing over the last couple of months. They've just been continually increasing. As for Nikki Haley, her chances decreased by a lot. She was not invited to CPAC, and that really had an effect on her numbers because getting invited to CPAC really is pretty important. You have Kristi Noem, who also increased because of CPAC. She's someone that Donald Trump does like, but her chances have been slipping over the last couple of weeks. And then, Cruz and never was too high. And then Mike Pence is also been decreasing. Ted Cruz is really just a really unlikable person. He received literally no endorsements from Republicans in his 2016 race from the Senate, and he literally worked with them every single day. So Ted Cruz really is a really unlikable person. And these are the chances of Mike Pence filing to run for president before 2022, at the end of 2022, which is a good time to announce your run. But of course, Mike Pence, the vice president, no matter what, him running, even if he is a really weak candidate, it will be a big deal because he was the vice president to the very popular Republican president, the very popular president among Republicans only, really. But Mike Pence, his chances of running have really decreased, but it did go up over the last couple of days, and that is just because he's starting to do a lot more things publicly. He's also writing a memoir now, and I'll take a look at that in just a few moments here. But Donald Trump's chances of running before the end of 2021 have really slipped a lot, and I do think that in early January on Inauguration Day, he was planning on announcing something important for 2024. That was a really big rumor, but it did end up not occurring. And one major thing that had to do with that was the insurrection at the Capitol, which really decreased his popularity. Just nationwide. And he decided to not, hold an event at Mar-a-Lago on Inauguration Day for Joe Biden. So Trump's chances of running before 2021 are not the highest, but still 15% is considerable, and announcing this year really is pretty early. So taking a look at Mike Pence's 2024 run, as you can see, he's laying the groundwork, and something that he lacks right now seems to be the support of Donald Trump. As you can see, when Trump was asked to list those he considers to be futures of the GOP, he quickly gave a list, including Ron DeSantis, a big contender, Josh Hawley, who of course supported him in overturning the election results. Mike Pence did not support that, and of course Ted Cruz. So Mike Pence was not on that list, and being Trump's vice president, a very loyal vice president, might I add, I think that it was definitely pretty surprising to see Trump not even supporting his former vice president. I think that does signal that Mike Pence will have a pretty unique challenge going to 2024 because he's going to have to get those Trump voters. If Mike Pence cannot get Trump voters, if anyone cannot get Trump voters, they cannot win the primary, because you need Trump voters, because Trump voters make up like 70% of the party now. Really, really staunch Trump supporters, and of course you have 20-25% that support him, just okay, and then 5%, those are like the Mitt Romney voters essentially, that are really, really against Donald Trump. So this is definitely bad for Mike Pence that he does not have Trump support, but things can still change. They did have a really good relationship for a very long time, and we'll see what happens there. But something else that is happening is, in the next couple of days this weekend, Trump has, invited many of these other people at a major retreat for the GOP. They will be going to Mar-a-Lago, as well as, I believe, the Four Seasons in Florida. So essentially what they're doing is they are basically just having a meeting with donors and stuff like that. And this is something that, these candidates do have to go to, if they want to have a good chance at winning. This is just, a lot of behind the scenes stuff, ramping up for a primary, because being able to fundraise really is very important. And those who are expected to show up, with the Republican parties, the establishment, as well as Donald Trump, we have a Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida, him showing up, of course, Kristi Noem also not going to skip out on this special occasion here. Mike Pompeo, former Secretary of State, who stayed with Donald Trump throughout the throughout his post-election season when Donald Trump lost the election. Mike Pompeo continues to support Donald Trump. You have Tom Cotton of Arkansas. He's a senator, and he is mildly well-known. Rick Scott, a senator from Florida, and of course Marco Rubio. So both these senators from Florida are all attending this retreat, and I think that these candidates definitely have the highest chance of winning. I don't think that Nikki Haley has a chance at winning in 2024 unless something major happens among the GOP, because they are just so invested into Donald Trump and Trumpism at this point, and basically all of them want Trumpism to survive, and Nikki Haley is not a Trump Republican, and that is going to be a major issue, and everyone else on this list, they are Trump Republicans. So yeah. Yeah, this is definitely something important to watch out for. And then I want to take a look at actually the favorability rating of Donald Trump. As you can see, currently he is at negative 15.3. He has been at a worse number. He was at negative 19 following the Capitol insurrection, and he was even more unpopular before he won the GOP nomination when people didn't even take him seriously. So his popularity is definitely low. It's not the lowest it's been, by far, but definitely these are not great numbers. Only 40% favorable, 55% unfavorable. And as you can see, Donald Trump has never been viewed favorably among the American public. There has never been a point in time in which more people viewed him favorably than unfavorably. So Donald Trump definitely very unpopular, and I think that's very unlikely that Republicans win the popular vote in 2024. Really, it's just really unlikely. They haven't won the popular vote since 2004, and that was by a very narrow margin. And that was after, of course, 9/11 with George W. Bush, who became the most popular president in history. And he also had huge approval ratings because of the Iraq War and Afghanistan. And amidst a war, you typically don't really want to elect the person that's been leading it for the last couple of years, just to change. So, and there really wasn't a recession or anything at that time. So that was really the last time that the Republicans won, and after that, Democrats have won the popular vote in every single election. So that's going to be an issue, but I think that right now the polls definitely do favor Donald Trump. He has overwhelming support. The reason why Ron DeSantis leads in the betting odds is not because Ron DeSantis is going to defeat Donald Trump in the GOP primary. It's that Donald Trump is not that likely to run again. He is getting up there in age. He would be in his 80s, and I think that it is more likely that Ron DeSantis wins in the scenario that Donald Trump does not run in 2024. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure you like this video, enjoyed it. Comment down below who you think will win the 2024 GOP primary. Subscribe to our channel if you have not. Join my Discord server if you haven't, the link to which is the very top of the description below. Again, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next video.